Good morning. So I'm getting ready for work today, and I thought it'd be fun to sit down and do another kind of like chatty, get ready with me, and I'm going to wear some new items for my last Black Friday haul. So I'm getting ready for like a look that can go with those things. So let's get going. I also wanted to kind of do like a get to know me tag, and I might look up questions from one of those. But I also asked on Instagram, and I have a pretty good amount of questions that I can answer just from that. So I'm going to start there and go ahead and start getting ready. So some of the things I'm going to do are definitely from the routine I did in my first Get Ready With Me. I always start with a moisturizer. This is from Hanalei. It's an aloe moisturizer, and I just feel like it's really good, and especially good in the winter time. Now I've been really bad lately, so it's end of semester. I'm having one of the most stressful semesters. I'm a teacher. I'm also an administrator of like a center, and I'm going to be moving from associate director to director, and that like transition, all that planning for that transition has been very stressful, and I keep coming home, having dinner, and falling asleep, and so my skincare has not been as good as it normally is, and I can tell. I keep forgetting to put this on at night, and my skin is really dry, so I have to get better at that, especially as we move into December. Also, on YouTube, a lot of people do this Vlogmas thing. So what I think is that I'll do kind of like a soft Vlogmas, because I teach at a university. That means that I don't work as late into December as someone that's working K through 12. And so I will have a good bit of time off in December to go and do like fun videos. And so I think I'll do some Vlogmas, but I'm just not going to like hold myself to needing to do a video every day, because I'm new, and like I just think that's a little bit too much for me. But I definitely will do more videos and more vlog style videos than I have been. Okay, so as that dries, I'm going to go in order of the stuff that I got on Instagram. So the first thing that was asked is, what is my favorite food? And, well, there's lots. I would say like the food item that I just cannot resist are French fries. Like, so simple, but so good. French fries, so good. In fact, I could like not eat any other form of potato and be completely happy only eating French fries. But besides that, like cuisine-wise, I do love Italian food. I am 50% Sicilian. I remember all the food my Nona used to make when I was a kid. She lived far away, so we'd only get it like a couple days out of the year. But that is probably my favorite food. And I like pastas, but I also like how they do like sauces on their meats, or like they bread meat and things like that. I like all of that stuff. All right, the next one's a hard one to answer. It says, what's your biggest dream that you want to achieve in 2019? And I have to admit that I'm not someone that does a lot of vision work. I often find the opportunities present themselves to me, but I guess I do have a couple things that I would like to see happen. I don't know if I'd necessarily call them biggest dreams. So I obviously want to do really well in my new job position. My dream is that makes my job even more enjoyable and something that matters to me, and that I do a good job at it, because in the university system, this is probably boring, but I'll tell you anyways. In the university system, those that are on like tenure professor tracks typically have not all the time, have terminal degrees, like PhDs, and I don't have a PhD. I just have a master's, and so that means that I can never become like a professor. Well, the job that I'm going into has typically been held by a tenure track professor, and so I feel a little bit like, oh gosh, will I be able to live up to what they're able to do? I think I know that I'm good at my job, but there's that imposter syndrome feeling, like, should they really be trusting me with this? So I'm sure after a few months, I will feel fine. But there's a little bit of imposter syndrome happening. The other biggest dream I'd have is like that this YouTube channel like really takes off and goes somewhere. Back when I had a blog, I really loved it, and I loved all the good stuff that came from it, getting to meet other bloggers, getting to travel to New York. It'd also be great if this blog ever like made money enough for me to buy clothes and I didn't have to come out of my paycheck. A girl can dream, right? Like, have my clothes budget covered. That would be awesome. So yeah, I look like yikesy, but it looks, I said this last time, it looks fine in person. I just used Makeup Forever, their HD stick. It's in Y315. I have a lot of discoloration. I'm sure you saw it whenever I first, came on. This kind of helps build a foundation, and then I go in with concealer from there. And I had mentioned last time that I have hirsutism, and so that means I have like darker areas of my skin where I have like some hair issues. So I do rely on concealer, and my beauty blender is not clean. I used it yesterday too. Don't judge me. Okay, bye. All right, so the next thing is, where do you shop for bras? And I've actually gotten this a lot in the comments as well, that a few of you have said it really looks like, you have a good bra that's smooth and supportive. What do you use? And I will say my bra is like the best kept secret of Lane Bryant, because they don't carry it in store. And when you go and look at the bra online, you're gonna see that like so many people have commented saying they love it. I have no idea why Lane Bryant won't carry it in store. It's a very popular style. And so it is their like satin plunge bra. And what I'll do is I'll insert a picture after I'm done talking about this, and I'll also put a link down below. I will say there was like a time when they barely had any stock, and I was like, oh no, they are taking away my one and only bra. And they did end up bringing it back. I just think that they must have like less control over their manufacturing for it. I really don't have any idea what's going on with that one. And I did end up buying some of the Torrid plunge bras, the kind that have a little bit of padding in it. I will say the bra that I like has padding at the bottom, and to me it's like supportive padding. It doesn't make my size suddenly change in terms of how big I look up top, but it certainly affects support. And it is wire, and some people won't like that, but it is very supportive. And I find it very comfortable, and I don't like all of Lane Bryant's bras. Oh my gosh, I look crazy. Okay, faster. I did try Torrid's bras. I like them somewhat. There's definitely days where I feel like wearing them as opposed to my normal bra. But what I find with the Torrid bras, unlike my favorite, is that I spill out the front. And so like I'll look down and I'm like, oh, get back in there. And that doesn't happen with my favorite style from Lane Bryant. So that's a big difference, I think. But the Torrid ones sometimes have a much more comfortable back to them. I'll also link the Torrid style that I like in case that's more interesting to you. I do think they're a little bit cheaper, which might be nice. Okay. All right. The next question is, how do you find the confidence that you ooze? Well, let me get my stuff first. I'm going in with the Anastasia contour kit. So I think, one thing to think is that I didn't used to have a lot of confidence. In fact, whenever I was in college, I really did not have a lot of confidence. I had confidence in myself as a student, but I never approached guys for relationships. I never thought anyone would want to be in a relationship with me. I had a lot of like just first dates, and so my confidence in terms of attractiveness was down. I think confidence comes from a lot of positive experiences, and those can come from uncomfortable moments. You know, a lot of my confidence comes from being connected to the plus size community. When I was 21, 22, that's whenever I started blogging. That's when I started reading blogs. And I do think, like, you absolutely have to fill your media with people that look like you. Like, if you can find them beautiful, why can't you find yourself beautiful? And I did notice that as I kept looking at plus size women, I was like, God, they're so pretty. Well, guess what? Like, I can be pretty too. And I think that it's just recognizing that and sometimes retraining your mind to think what's pretty. But beyond, like, beauty, confidence, I mean, I think I have confidence because I have confidence in the fact that I can put together an outfit that I like and that I feel good in. I like the way that I can do my makeup and hair. It's not, like, professional by any means. And so I did watch some, like, I've watched makeup tutorials and things like that. So it's kind of like learning to know the skills that you want to have. And then as far as in general in life, a lot of my confidence has come over time. And so, you know, I teach. My first semester, second semester, I didn't have a ton of confidence. In fact, I still have, like, teaching nightmares all the time where, like, every single one of my students just, like, lines up and tells me how much they hate me. That's my fear coming out in a dream. But you wouldn't know that I have that fear if you talk to me. And I think it's just, like, assurance that I've done a lot of self-reflection and I feel personally good about what I'm doing, and that's what allows me to have confidence in what I'm doing. I know that I've put thought into it. I know that I've put care into it. I know that I've, you know, acted with compassion when I needed to, and I think it's just feeling confident in my decisions. Now, I will say something I've noticed about myself compared to other people that, like, I work with is I'm very decisive. I find, like, a solution or I find an avenue and I go with it, and I don't kind of, like, hem and haw about it. And I think that allows me to have more confidence more easily than someone that's really questioning their choices. And so that's something that you might think about is, like, what kind of, like, where do you see yourself not having confidence? If that's even what you have, you probably have plenty of confidence. And I think, you know, whenever I started blogging, one of the things I really lacked confidence is that I didn't think I was an interesting person. And I find that a lot of my students have that as well. Like, they don't think they're very interesting. Anytime they have to write something about themselves, they're like, I have nothing to say, I'm not interesting. Like, A, that's incorrect. But I think it's from just, like, not taking stock or not even allowing yourself to do things that you like. So really allowing myself to figure out, like, what are my interests? What do I like to watch? And like, owning that, like, wearing it like a badge. I am a teacher at university. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, they, like, read poetry and stuff. I don't like that stuff. I am very much more into, like, everyday writing and everyday media, and that's okay. And I love Bravo TV. And Bravo is not very intellectual, although I could make it intellectual if I wanted to. And, like, I love Bravo. Who cares? I love Bravo. Let's go talk some Real Housewives right now. Let's go talk some Below Deck, some Southern Charm. I love it. And I think just really allowing yourself to, like, know, like, oh, there's other people that are also into that interest, and that's cool, and we can talk about it, and it's fun. And that also gives me confidence to, like, know that I have interests. I have things I can talk about and share. And so that's one of my ways. How do I plan outfits? So most of my outfits are geared around a central item. So, like, let's say I get a new sweater. I'm thinking of how I can wear that new sweater. If I get, like, that skirt from Loft, my Loft video, I'm thinking, how can I wear that skirt? And so it tends to, like, focus on one item that, I want to showcase, that I then plan an outfit for. For instance, today I bought a sweater during Black Friday. That's that BP sweater. And so pretty much everything I'm putting in that outfit, I'm doing because of that sweater. Now, that's just me. I am bad at accessorizing. I want to get better at it. I don't always pick out, like, especially for work, I don't pick out, like, a bag for it, a jewelry for it. I think that's what makes me different than, like, Jessica Torres, It's Me, Kelly B, like, the people that are really into fashion, that they spend time thinking of the whole outfit. And sometimes I just don't either have the time or the patience. But it typically starts with one item that I want to showcase. How can I best showcase it? and then having options from there. So having earrings I can kind of go to for that, jackets I can go to, etc. So I'm not sure that that necessarily is like the best answer in the world that's helpful, but it's definitely the actual process I take. And I am a little bit like a matchy person, so you're not going to see me do too many like print clashing or like color clashing. So I'm thinking about like what matches, what goes well with the silhouette. Those are kind of the things I'm thinking about whenever I get an outfit together. Alright, so I'm going to do like lazy girl eye makeup. This is like from the Crown Pro. I got this I think in, what's that makeup subscription service? I want to say it starts with a B. It's not Birchbox. It's, they send you like full-size items. I'll put it up on the screen when I remember. I only did it for a couple months. I just wasn't like overly in love with it. And also, while this palette's really pretty, I like this one, I don't typically do a lot of stuff with that. So like the palette every single month was just too much for me. And I'm just going in my crease and creating some definition. And like you're gonna see I'm being lazy. I'm pulling the second color here to do it. It's like it's a brown. Okay. What is your dream job? Well, I kind of feel like my dream job doesn't pay my dream money. You know what I mean? Like, I work in a tutoring center that offers support for students. I really like working there because I really like being involved with the graduate students and students who tutor. I really like being part of their professional development and being a support for them. And I like being like a mentor more than even being a teacher. Like I like that I teach them, but I'm a mentor. It's a different relationship. I'm not assessing them for their grades or anything like that. And so I really love that. But you know, like, could I get 100,000 for it? That'd be nice. That's not gonna happen. I don't actually think that I'm like someone, ooh, this looks like real dark. I don't think I'm actually someone that would be good in the fashion world. I'm just not part of that world. I don't know it, but I certainly, like, if I could be a full-time content creator, that could be fun. But I also think like a lot of those people struggle, and I think it'd also be really easy to go into debt doing it unless you're getting paid enough. Obviously for full-time you're hopefully getting paid enough, but it's a lot of like keeping up with the Joneses, and I'm not sure that would appeal to me after a while. But it certainly like seems fun to be able to do content, and a lot of them talk about the fact that like it looks fun but it's a lot of work. I'm sure I wouldn't love the whole like negotiating with companies all the time or chasing them for bills. I do like the security of like knowing I'm getting a paycheck and all that stuff. So maybe, you know, if this could be part-time work, that'd be awesome. So yeah, dream job is kind of what I'm doing, but I wish I was paid more for it. Dream job is, let's face it, like earning passive income and not having to work. Dream job. Okay, so basically I just take this and I just keep on buffing until it's not as dramatic as it once looked. But there's still like some color there, and it actually looks darker on camera than it does in person. Go figure. Alright. How do you deal with bad body image days? Well, it's kind of funny because the other day I had a friend over, and I've recently gained some weight. And basically he was like, oh, you had said you had gained some weight, but like I can see it. And it's amazing like how me saying that and him saying it, I was like in a funk for a minute there. I think anytime we feel like our body's changing, that can bring up bad body days for sure. And I think for me, the issue with me gaining weight is that it's bringing back some old insecurities, like a fuller face, old insecurity. And so sometimes, like, even though intellectually I can be like, okay, bodies fluctuate, your body's fluctuating, you're still gonna go out and live your life, like, just go do it. Like, this is my body, you know, like, it's just get on and go on with it. It can still, like, have a moment where, like, it feels like a failure for some reason, or it feels like, ugh, I don't look so good on this, or my stomach's pooching out more, or the pants aren't fitting the right way, and it can bring you down for sure. Like, in that moment, I probably was in a funk for 40 minutes. I told him that him commenting on my body made me in a funk. So part of it is like, maybe don't do that again. Like, maybe keep your observations of my body to yourself, because I observe my body enough for the both of us. Thank you. So it might be like telling somebody, you know, hey, don't do that again. And it's just the truth for me. Like, I don't like people to comment on my body, especially if it's outside of the context of a conversation we're having. And I don't mean, like, of course people can say, oh, I like your outfit or whatever, but, like, I just don't go up to people and tell them, oh, I noticed this about your body. And so I don't like when people do it to me, quite honestly. And hey, friend, if you're watching, like, you're a good friend, don't worry, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying, like, this was a moment that happened. Besides that, I can't recall, like, all the thoughts that went through my head, but basically at the end of the day, I, for the most part, like the way I look. And so I think it was kind of like, okay, you're heavier. Yeah. It bothered you. Are you gonna really let this bother you for longer? And it's kind of moving on. So, I mean, I will say, like, I'm very self-reflective. I try to figure out where my feelings are coming from. Try to figure out how much stock I'm going to give them. Like, okay, I had this negative feeling, but, like, my friend's here to hang out, and I want to spend time with him. Do I really need to focus on this? And he was self-assuring in terms of, like, I just noticed. Doesn't mean it looks bad, you know, I just noticed it. And then also, like, on days where I inflict that on myself without something happening to do it, I think some of the ways I deal with it are allowing myself grace to feel it. You know, like, okay, you don't feel great today about your body. Sometimes I push through it. Like, at the fat camp that I went to, I was, for the most part, felt really comfortable. But one day we were, like, all wearing bathing suits, and I was like, I had brought a bikini to wear, and I was like, but do I really want to wear a bikini? It was being filmed by Broadly, you know, like, I kind of had this moment, and then I saw, why am I horrible at names? Oh my goodness. Wow, it's so sad, because I was looking at her Instagram just today, and I'm already, like, I'm just completely blanking. I can't even think of an Instagram name or anything. But anyway, she's one of the featured speakers. I saw her walk by in a bikini, and I was like, girl's owning it. Let me go own it. And so I put it on, and, like, so sometimes seeing other people do awesome with it and, like, saying, God, they're, like, so cool, or they look so great, that can be a way to, like, push yourself out of a bad body image moment of, you know, so maybe go look at some people that look like you. Look at people that look like you. And remind yourself how you feel. Like, remind yourself that the feeling's temporary. Remind yourself that you find, you know, bigger people beautiful too. Remind yourself that even if you're a little bit bigger, like, it doesn't really matter, or whatever that thing is that might be an insecurity. Sometimes my insecurity is my tummy showing. I went to a wedding in the mountains this past month, and, like, my dress showed my belly outline in pictures, like, way more than I expected it to. I didn't feel great that night, and it was kind of like, okay, I don't feel great that night, and when I get home, I'm going to take off this dress and put something else on, and I'll feel okay. And so, you know, some of it's just like, okay, maybe that doesn't make me feel good, and I just need to not do that again. But, so, like, in that case, I didn't want to wear that kind of dress again, which is, you know, limiting and not the greatest. But in the bikini sense, I put on the bikini and just wore it and liked it and enjoyed it once I had it on. So I think it's kind of like, where am I at? What can I do with it? I have a different reaction sometimes every time it happens, depending on what's happening around me, depending on how well I'm able to work through it. But typically it's like, let me get some perspective here and then move on from that. What's your go-to designer? I'm gonna have a disappointing answer in the fact that like I really don't follow designers. I really don't follow designers. I can't think of a single designer that I like really follow. I think Ilan Zilli from Zilli for She has some cool stuff. I don't wear enough of it to like say that she's my favorite or anything like that. Prem has cool stuff, but again, I don't wear enough of it. I actually really like the Astra line, which is designed by someone I'm not gonna remember the name of because I literally cannot remember any names right now. I'm gonna blame my mom and her sisters on this. They can never remember names either. She's sometimes Glam though. That's her Instagram name. I really like her line, and I would love to buy more of it. I just haven't had the chance to. So yeah, I don't really have a favorite designer. In fact, I buy all my purses from like Aldo, so you can't trust me in terms of designer. How old are you? I am 30 years old. I will be 31 in February. So I'm pretty well into my 30th year at this point. It was kind of interesting because I do feel like turning 30 changed some things for me in terms of, I don't know, like I just wanted more privacy. That was interesting. I wanted more privacy. I'm the only unmarried sibling, so sometimes I feel like I'm the child by default, and I just wanted more privacy. How tall are you? I'm 5'4", so kind of like right on the cusp of petite. Sorry, I got a call and I got really scared that it deleted everything, but it saved it, so we're good. We're good. I still feel like I look crazy. So yeah, 5'4", not very tall at all. Have you ever been skinny before? And this person made sure to say in their comment, like, no disrespect, I'm just wondering, have you ever been skinny before? And the answer is no, I've never been skinny before, ever. I've always been bigger. I've always been chubby. As a kid, I distinctly remember being probably like in the 6th grade, maybe even younger, and shopping at Lane Bryant already. At the time, I wore their smallest size, and I remember thinking like, oh, if I just stay this size forever, by the time I'm a grown-up, it'll be okay. That's not how your body works, kid. So I was already feeling shame about my body at that point. I remember all the kids would wear stuff from Limited 2. And I could fit into some things in the Limited, but obviously that was like designed for older people. I remember finding one shirt from Limited 2 that fit me, and I wore that thing to like death. So yeah, I've always been bigger. In high school, I wore a size 24 jean. I weighed less than I weigh now, even though I still can sometimes fit in a size 24 jeans, so I'm sure some sizing differences have happened over the time. But yeah, like I was always a bigger person. I was always the biggest person in my class, and I was on like color guard with the flags, and there are multiple like chubbier people, but I was definitely the biggest one. And usually typically like the biggest one by a long shot. Like they were probably more like 18, 20, and I was at 24. So yeah, I've always been bigger. And I'll pop in some pictures if you want to see. So I'm going to go in with this NYX lip liner in Natural, and then I'm going to go in with this Ofra, which I also got through that, dang it, why can't I remember? It's like Beauty Box or something. This Ofra liquid lipstick. It doesn't say what color this is, but I will try to see if I can find what it is. It's my only Ofra product. So the next question is, have you ever dyed your hair really blonde or really dark or a crazy color, a crazy fun color? And I'm sorry, I know I've used the word crazy a lot and that's not a great word to use. Okay. Yes. In fact, most of my teenhood and college years, I was very blonde. Started in probably high school, and my mom allowed me to get highlights. That's back when they used to do it with a little pull-through cap. That was fun. And then I definitely went like super, super, super blonde. I also used to almost always have my hair really short. The bob haircut was really popular back then. And the angled bob. We still see that now, like the lob. But I definitely had that. So I'll include pictures of that. I also have had periods of my life where I had like black hair. And I have some from college from that. Not my best coloring. But I think in high school, my senior year, I can't remember if I dyed my hair black my senior year or it was during my freshman year. I think I did it twice. Got my nose pierced. I wanted to be a bad girl. I was not a bad girl, but I wanted to be a bad girl. And then, of course, whenever you go from like really blonde to really black and then back again, you're also going to have some orange hair. So that'll happen too. Hey guys, sorry for the abrupt ending to my Get Ready With Me. I started filming doing my hair and then I was like, who really wants to see this? And it was hard to like talk while curling my hair, which is really weird. I also covered all the questions that people had given me on Instagram, and so I think we're good there. But I don't know, and I really hope it's picking up the volume. This is how I ended up with my hair, some curls, Francesca's earrings, wearing my BP top, and ooh. You know, you're used to like Instagram where you can have long stuff. High-waisted leggings from ELOQUII and my Old Navy boots. I'll make sure to put a picture up of what I'm wearing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little Get Ready With Me. I'm sorry because I'm like I'm still styling myself apparently. Hope you enjoyed it and got to know a little bit more about me, and feel free to ever send like other questions. I might do this again in a couple months. And I know I didn't cover everything. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.